Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? Hashtag Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Sally. And today, drum roll, we have Marianne Duke Cohn. Hey, finally. The hot analyst joining us.
So good to be here. New set, new year, new me. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
super happy, super excited to have
My
you.
pleasure.
How have you been?
Great. I mean, it's weird, but it's fun. I love it. Love what you guys have done with the place.
Thank you. Thank you. We tried. Hi, Dee.
Hello.
Dee went, there's a TikTok audio that is trending now. They say attachment, 5,000 naira. Something, all back. And also, every girl now on TikTok. The funny thing, when I was even going to go and get the hair extensions that I used to this hair, it's not 5,000 anymore. It's even 7,000.
Oh yeah, I mean every day the price increases.
Oh, we're just gonna go natural.
Yeah.
Natural is the way to go. Plus the weather is hot, so
Exactly. For me, that's the that was the main
and
thing.
it looks so good on you. It looks so good on you.
Please,
What?
I want to go back to being innocent and sweet.
I saw a young girl this evening on TikTok. She said attachment 7,000 naira. She took scissors and chopped off all her hair.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was gonna do that
So there's no
actually.
point.
Oh no, I love my hair. No, I rocked this for the first time in my whole life. I rocked this to the airport and I flew back from Calabar to Lagos. Like, who cares? I don't no time because it's really hot. Lagos is hot, but Calabar is really humid.
Wow.
Really humid. So I forgot about the fact that I was a baby girl. Heat did not let me.
Again, I also think that this is just going to allow more people to be not necessarily their authentic selves, but just to there's too many things to think about rather than someone just focusing
honestly.
on. Oh no, please.
No, honestly, there are some things that are not worth it. They are not worth
It's
it.
unnecessary pressure.
Now you guys are making me feel bad because I'm the only one with weave.
Oh no! I'm in.
Maria, do you, baby?
Exactly.
I mean, it's a Monday. I'm super excited because I've been holding off this conversation, Marianne. We're supposed to have this conversation since, but we're here now. Like, we're catching up on all the things that we're supposed to discuss since we've been off air. And in line with what we're discussing, which is Orosanye's report, right? And here's what we found as today's court. It says, President Goodluck Jonathan set up the 7-man panel in 2012 to restructure and rationalize governmental bodies, ordered the implementation of Orosanye's recommendation in 2014. President Muhammadu Buhari also ordered the implementation in 2020. So this person is saying, let us now hope or pray that this will be the final order. And this was from Simon Kolawole, right? So the Orosanye's report, especially the full implementation, has been mandated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. As a result, it declared the consolidation, acquisition, dissolution, labeled rather. Naturally, some have also been transferred from certain ministries to others where the administration believes they will function more effectively. So today we want to discuss this recommendation, and we have a guest that will be joining us much later, Judge Ashiru. He'll be here to discuss the conversation. And when we open our phone lines, we'll also love to hear what your thoughts about the recommendations are. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You are welcome. Thanks for staying with us. It's not your welcome. We've not done TV in a while. Don't blame us. All right. World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development is celebrated globally on the 4th of March every year. It was established by UNESCO in 2019 to raise awareness of the importance of engineering in achieving sustainable development. The theme for World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development 2024 is Engineering Solutions for a Sustainable World. This theme highlights the critical role engineers play in developing innovative solutions to address global challenges such as climate change, poverty, inequality. So today we celebrate and cheer on all engineers globally who are constantly working to achieve global development.
Yeah.
Well done, well done.
And in Nigeria, they're called Koran, so all the guys in Koran, kudos to you. You guys do what many of us can never dream of doing. I remember back in school when you said you studied engineering, whether it was civil, whatever engineering, like, you know math. And the rest of us, we were just art students. So yes, so all the guys who are in Koran, great job you guys are doing. What would the world be without you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to even add that I saw a video of, where's this man from now? He invented something very beautiful. So airports that when you go to anywhere in the world, right, those airports, and they don't need Wi-Fi. Yeah, they don't need Wi-Fi. You just connect the earplugs. They can translate I think about 56 languages or something to the language that you programmed it. I'm telling you.
That makes you a global citizen.
That's what I'm saying. So all that stress that you have to go learn a language because you need to communicate.
Or you even get in trouble because you cannot communicate.
He's an engineer. I think he went to Oxford, if I'm not mistaken. I just saw the video last night, so I sent it to my son because he's also studying engineering. So.
Lovely. So, I mean,
I'm
it's
so excited.
So he could also think of something.
Because now the kind of innovation that is coming out, right, are things that are literally relatable. So this guy from nowhere, all of a sudden, he's a multi-billionaire in dollars because of that simple, what's it called, innovation.
Yeah, of course, innovation that is not functional and does not address modern problems. It's not an innovation.
Yes, it's obsolete. So yeah, meeting the very important needs of the people is what, I mean, that's real entrepreneurship.
Very soon, some people will replace us here. And
No. Because I think in China, is it China or something?
There's a lot of AI right now, there's a lot of AI transactions happening online.
But that's one of the reasons why the writers in America, Hollywood, went on strike.
Yeah.
Because they have been threatened that, okay, producers and directors will start using AI. Of course, that brings about reduced overhead and all of that. So people have put in so much into the industry.
You really can't compare both,
but again, you see, whether we like it or not, as long as we embrace technology, we must also be prepared to pay the price.
Open-minded. Let's just, I don't think prepared is the word, because I don't think we'll ever be prepared.
True.
We'll just be a little bit open-minded to the fact that these guys might just be amongst us.
Absolutely. All right, so let me come to you, Marianne. What did you find for us in today's news?
What's in the news for me today? For those who've been following the news, apparently a very, very good friend of mine who's a very renowned journalist, investigative journalist, who's done all sorts of things. He's gone undercover in prisons. He's gone undercover in so many things, and this time around he decided to be a smuggler. Shayo Shoyombo decided to go to the borders of Nigeria to see what's been happening. And, because we talk about how porous our borders are, but we really don't, you can't actually understand how bad it is until you watch Fisayo's report. And in the expose, there were videos that he put out about a very, very notorious smuggler. And he made very, very damning allegations against Inspector General of Police. And I want to talk about that tweet that he posted recently. He said, and I quote, "Smuggler and gun runner IBD Dende is friends with Kayode Igbetokun, the Inspector General of Police. They're both from Yewa in Ogun State." He goes ahead to say IBD Dende is friends with Bola Tinubu, who's the president. He was on presidential train to COP28 climate summit in Dubai. IBD Dende is friends with Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, the Controller General of Nigeria Customs Service. He was indeed influential in Adeniyi's emergence as CGC. He doesn't stop there. He goes ahead to say, make of this whatever you want, or you probably want me to say it, and I will. Nigeria's insecurity challenges aren't ending anytime soon, as long as smugglers of arms and ammunition are backed by the nation's highest security officers. It then brings our attention to several allegations that have been making the news under the Buhari administration down into this administration about why terrorism continues to fester. Because who are the people who are allowing these guns to come into the country? Who are the people who are even funding these guns? Because
Absolutely.
how much does a catch Linkov cost? It costs so much money. The average in Nigeria lives under $1. So, and then the people who are wielding these guns are average Nigerians. So obviously there's something to it. And many people are asking, the customs is yet to react to this. The IGP of police is yet, the presidency is yet to react to this. And Fishaya is not one of those journalists who will just go hop on social media.
Of course, he knows the implications.
And exactly. So why is everybody quiet?
And they are quiet because, you know, well, let me not say the one I want to say. But I just want to allude to the fact that our borders are truly porous. Because I remember, I think about 10 or 12 years ago, you know how we go to Cotonou to go and get cars. I mean, I was literally smuggled into Cotonou and smuggled out.
No way.
Yeah, I wanted to just live the experience, right?
Wow.
So, but then I didn't know that these things were illegal. I just kept on asking the guy, you know, because the guy is from Benin, you know, but he lives everything, he does everything in Nigeria. So he used to buy cars and all of those things. So we wanted to get a specific kind of car then. I can't remember what it was for. And he actually smuggled me into Benin Republic. Smuggled me back in. We were on bikes. You know, the road was so bumpy. We were passing it through the bush. In fact, now looking back and saying it now, I get mine though. Because literally...
You were one crazy girl.
I'm telling you. Literally, I actually left everything in Lagos and I went with him. I said, let's go. And we went to the car lot.
So who would have known to look for you there, if anything
It's a journalist in you. If you knew, if you had a tiny camera, you could have done something.
Absolutely. So I can tell you for free, we don't have borders in this country.
Yeah.
But, you know, this also boils down to the fact that we have questionable people leading us at every single level. And this is not in any way trying to
throw shades at anyone.
But questions are begging for answers, and we need those answers. Because if people are dying every day, look at what happened on Christmas Day, New Year's Day. The number of people that continuously died, and all we do, and all our leaders do, is pay condolence visits and give some paltry amounts of monies and say, oh, we're condoling with families. But then the same thing keeps on happening.
Absolutely.
And no one's necessarily addressing it. So maybe this is where we will begin to address it, if we are ready to address it.
Well, if we are, please, my darling. Your story, Diola.
Okay, so this is sometime, I mean, towards the end of February, you know, there was this news. Well, it's a policy from the president about in trying to bridge the gap between the expatriates, you know, wages of expatriates and the locals. You know, there are certain, you know, things that came up, and part of that, which is why I picked today's story, was the fact that companies that now employ or that have expatriates would have to do a payment of about $10,000 to $15,000 every year. So today, of course, the what's it called? The Association of, you know, Nigerian employers and all that have come out to say that that is a rather drastic move to just almost cripple businesses. Already, ease of doing business in Nigeria, you know, it's not necessarily easy. And they went on to talk about the fact that even getting permits for expatriates to work in Nigeria, as crazy as we think the country is, Nigeria is actually one of the countries where it is so difficult to get work. Nigeria.
Yep.
So employers are saying, okay, if they have to go through all of that, they pay certain amounts of money to do that. It's rather, it's like double tax, you know, to have them now pay $10,000, $15,000 per expatriate. I mean, for me, it really does not make sense. While I applaud the government on trying to promote local skills, and
local
then
content.
local content, we must also look at the fact that sometimes the skill set required is not available here. That's the truth. If I am, personally, I will speak from my own point of view. If I have a business and I require technical skills and I don't have a local person who can fit into, and I can get that outside of, I will shop for that person. But I mean, let's look at this. I even feel, even if you want to come up with a policy like that, this is the wrongest time. Now I get that you're trying to shore up revenue into the country, but this is the wrong time.
Well, you know, the truth is, it's the same people that if you go into certain kinds of meetings, trying to seek certain kinds of contract, Glory said this on Friday, that if you don't have an expatriate on your team,
Absolutely.
do you understand, your business would be shoved aside. So you're actually demanding that these people bring in expatriates into their team, and you're not making it difficult to even have them. But you know what? I really can't even speak much on that. Let me quickly take my story. I think I'll just read through. The governor of Lagos State has come out to say that they want to start to enforce monthly rentals, right? Monthly payments of rents. Before the end of 2024, they want to start making sure that they enforce monthly rentals or early next year. So we all see that what is being done in other climes, rents are collected monthly. Hence, we're looking and hoping that before the end of this year or by early next year, we will be able to implement the policy of monthly rentals. Also, the rental will be charged according to tenants' earnings. Olga, have you provided the housing? And this was said through his special advisor,
Barakat
Odunuga Bakare, because you've not given the landlord cement and sand to build this house. Literally, when I hear this kind of statement, like, are you guys playing to the gallery? Like, because if you haven't provided the house, you cannot tell me how much I want to fix as my rent. Right? It is actually not feasible. I get the part that monthly rentals are better, but really, how much is your minimum wage? How much are you earning even on a monthly basis? Truth be told, most people get their rents from family members, so it is never about their salaries.
Girl,
because yes,
you're preaching to
I'm
the choir.
telling you, like, I go and collect my rent. I say, Uncle, I beg, I want to pay rent. Uncle will give you $1 some, you go and pay your rent. That's it, right? If you say you are benching it on a monthly income, I'm sorry, you need to increase that monthly income. Right? And you cannot determine what a landlord will fix as the price. So whilst you people are doing something that is laudable, I want you to think through it. So don't just sound nice in the ears of your people. I'll leave it there. We'll take a break now, and then our guest will join us as we discuss or analyze the Orosanye's report or his recommendations to the presidency. Stay with us.
Last year? What happened last year? Bro, the whole LP 24 and all of those things, and see where it got us. You know, it's discouraging, but at the same time, we don't have to be discouraged. You know, if you're working towards something, if you know that you want to actually achieve a particular goal, regardless of the storms, regardless of the rainfalls, you have to make sure that you're there. You know, so regardless of what happens, no, see, we've not started seeing the shege. We'll continue working, right? We'll leave the hope and lack of interest in one place, and we'll just make sure that, okay, this is our goal to make Nigeria better, and we'll always work towards it.
Do is try to show them with our actions, which I think we're already doing. Like, there's youth rallies, there's things like that.
That's what I spoke about.
You know, I feel like we're already doing as much as we can. The people at the top need to care enough about nurturing the next generation to push them through into these positions for it to go anywhere. Taking care of the people who have no one to take care of them should be my #1 responsibility. Making sure that they have access to food, water, school, good jobs, welfare, you know, whatever they need to build them up. Because by building them up, their next generation have a good, at least, foundation to start on. And that way, at least, the level of poverty in this country will reduce. As a government, even if things are getting expensive, we should still be able to take care of our people, the people who can't take care of themselves.
It's the whole youth of Nigeria. It literally takes a community to, like, raise and bring up those youths. And, like, if you're not really doing what you need to do to empower them or to help them or to even give them the hope that is needed, then it's just going to leave them just dry.
directors. It's not a crime to say a 22, a 23, a 25-year-old as a board of director. For you to even say you want to come up to that space of leadership, right? How ready are you? What are the processes you have put in place? What foundation have you laid upon yourself? Are you empathy enough? Are you one that listens enough? Or you're just one that mainly you're here and you're rapidly just getting into it, you're bumping, hey, we no go, it's not about we no go agree or we no go agree. No, at times you need to draw back. You need to sit back and rethink, okay, this thing that is happening, why is it happening like that? What better solutions can I prefer to this? It starts little by there.
President Goodluck Jonathan named Stephen Orosanye, rather, to lead the committee in 2012. Out of the 541 federal entities that were in existence at the time, 220 were suggested to be merged or scrapped in the 800-page report. If the report is put into action, it will result in the dismissal of over 100 heads of agencies and parastatals. The report suggested cutting the number of statutory agencies from 263 to 161, eliminating 38 of them, merging 52 of them, and transferring 14 of them back to the ministry departments. Now, the document suggested ending government support for professional associations and councils and conducting a management audit of 89 organizations that collected biometrics data from employees. So tonight we're asking, how impactful is the Orosanye's recommendation to the government? And what's your take on it? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also call us if you would like to join the conversation. Before I bring in our guest in a second, I just wanted to hear your thoughts quickly, Marianne. What do you think?
There's a famous, I'm not going to go too deep. There's a famous cartoonist that I love. He's Nigerian, Ashiru. He does some of the best cartoons. And that cartoon hasn't left my head because it's a very fat lady who's the federal government. With all the plenty PAs, essays, all of them. She's very fat. Then the average Nigerian and her skinny kid say, Madam, you have to merge with your son so that things can be better in Nigeria. That's what this government is doing in the name of Orosanye report. That's all I'm going to say.
You're the first, though. What's your thoughts? I thought she was going to, hey, where you they go? Let me hear. Let me know where you they carry me they go.
I don't even know.
You don't know? Okay.
Okay, so, I mean, I've gone through this report, and in all honesty, my questions, I have more questions.
Okay, you know what? Hold your question.
Yeah, I have
George Ashiru is an international certified management consultant with over 25 years consulting practice in the aviation, manufacturing, technology, oil and gas, and FMCG sectors. He has led organizations with over 100,000 members and collaborated nationally and internationally on projects in both public and private sectors. He is a multinational speaker at entrepreneurship, management, and leadership conferences and seminars in public and private sector, a global leader in sport management and promotion, and an IOC in sports management. And he has joined us live in studio to discuss this matter. And Diola says she has more questions than answers. But you look amazing this evening, if I must say.
Thank you for joining. You don't look like Nigeria's problem.
I'm telling you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
All right, so I mean, when I'm hearing Marianne, that her analysis, I didn't know where she was going.
Maybe I should start with the question, because you don't understand what I mean.
Okay.
The federal government is the #1 culprit. they're not even reducing the cost of governance, but they're asking you and I to continue to tighten our belts. And it's not, it doesn't make sense.
No, but from this report, right, at first glance, maybe let me speak like a layman, right? If you're reducing federal government agencies, you're cutting them down. Is that not like an answer to the problem the way you say the federal government? That's why I said your analysis was a bit...
Did you get the memo from the federal government
No, I never
saying that they're not necessarily going to fire people?
Okay, so let me come to you, sir. At first glance, when you saw the Orosanye report, right, and, you know, because, I mean, President Jonathan was the one that initiated it. Buhari had ordered that it should be implemented, and now Tinubu has said it should be implemented. So everybody kept on going. I mean, there was news around, okay, finally, something, something, something. I've heard good reports about that, you know, Orosanye's report. But I don't know too much about, you know, I choose not to know. Not that I do not know, but I choose not to know. So help me understand it. At first glance, when you saw that report, what came to your mind? Is it a good thing for us in Nigeria, or is it something that we need to also, like, kind of take Marianne's cue and just be worried about a bit?
Well, obviously, some of us had a look at it when it first came out. And that conversation was going around the country at that time. And the issue was, I think, a few months later, about to step into the presidency of a federal parastatal. And the question affected that parastatal. For example, we had the National Sports Commission. We had the Federal Ministry of Youth. You know, and then after a while, within the 4 years in which I was president, it was merged into Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. Now, we have a new president. A new president says, no, there's to be Federal Ministry of Youth, Federal Ministry of Sports. So clearly, one of the reasons why this report is very important is that it helps create a sort of structure for how government establishes this sort of organizations. There should be a framework, you know, just like any organization, any company, performance management framework. What is the vision of government? What do you want to achieve? So it will tell you what you need. When you set up a company, you know you need marketing. You know you need finance. You know you need people management. You need operations. So that's 4 balanced scorecards. So your strategy is built around those 4. So if you want to be competitive, you want each of them to do very well. You compare that with benchmark with other companies. Same thing with Nigeria. We have to ask ourselves, what exactly is the overall vision? What is the strategy? And then these are the pillars. So if you have 1 million operational entities to do the same thing, you're going to have multiplication of duties, of job, of roles, recurrent expenditure, OPEX will go up, CAPEX will go up. So what Orosanye did was using an inside track, say, look, we really don't need all of these agencies that are really political entities.
Absolutely.
They're entities created because somebody somewhere is agitating for my people to be involved in government.
Absolutely.
And then you multiply the same thing 3, 4, 5 times over so that, okay, you can now have that, you can have that. But the thinking about it is that there's a political cost, there's an economic cost. So you might get political value, you know, the constituency will say our people are in government serving somewhere. But the economic cost to the country is we feel it now. We didn't feel it in 2012 because our GDP was going up. We didn't feel it when Obasanjo first came in. As you remember, the economy went up. We didn't feel it, you know, each time the government was doing well, it wanted to spend money. But every time we go through the crunch we're going through now, they say, oh, okay, we don't want to spend that much money again. And that's what Buhari did. Buhari felt that when he came in, he meant nothing. He meant nothing. The dollar crisis we're having now, we had it 8 years ago.
Absolutely.
He meant no, so he felt, okay, the best thing, I'm going to scrap everything. And then when he said he got pushback, that you have to go to the National Assembly to scrap things. So he stopped. That's why they couldn't implement it. And it's the same problem that President Tinubu is going to face right now. Some of those are acts of assembly, acts of parliament. But 3 months may not do it. But I think, personally, the idea that you're going to save $1 trillion is good. You saved $6 trillion from removing subsidy on fuel. If you had an extra trillion, the 2025 budget should make it easier for you not to have to borrow. But the key thing is this: what is the political cost?
Great question. Great question, because
those were my questions.
again, because I'm going to go back to why I made that analysis. Charity, they say, begins at home. Mr. President made a public promise that he was going to reduce the cost of governance starting from within his government. He promised that he was going to reduce his the people who were part of his advanced team, his travel team.
And all that.
But he's not been able to keep to it. We've seen him continuously go with a huge number of people. So who's to say that the president is the person for this job, this particular, pushing this through in this administration?
But you need to know that just like in any organization, that the chief executive officer, the chief operating officer, in government, there are two different power blocks. So the president will tell you what he desires. Then the people in charge, the head of service, secretaries of the government,
Tell you what is
the permanent secretaries and general managers of various parts of the government will tell you, in reality, Mr. President, we cannot implement it. So go ahead and make your political speech. When it comes to reality, classic example, we have BVN, we have NIN, we have all kinds of data coming from a million places. After you've gotten everything, go and get your passport. You still have to go through, after going through the digital process, you then have to go through the manual process again. So what is it telling us? It's telling us that the people will tell you that go ahead with your policies. But we that are on ground, that we're going to do the dead work, we are not going to let those policies run through. Now that is where he will have a problem in implementing restructuring. Every organization that you've had, as consultants, we face it. You go to a company, it doesn't matter how large the company is. The moment you come in with ideas and you give it to the CEO or the board, and you say, this is how we think you're going to get your profit, you're going to get pushback from the staff, from the middle management staff, not even the junior staff. And this is human nature. But you see, what makes people want to change is the fact that they feel that they are part of it. So even if you want to restructure, you don't just say, Orosanye, 5 people, 7 people sat down and they made a decision for the whole of Nigeria and then you implement. It doesn't work that way. When did you sit down with the organized private sector? When did you sit down with NLC and the TUC and say, look, we need to save money. We have to be on the same page. I guarantee you if I save 1 trillion here, I will spend it on education. I will spend it on security. I will spend it on schools, on vocational training. People will want to do it for you. But simply saying, we're going to restructure. Okay, where's the data that will tell you that if you save so much, who needs to go, where will they go? And you have said you are not going to sack people. That's unrealistic. Because when it comes down to brass tacks, they will be walking around without jobs. It's the same thing. They're unemployable. They're, you know, it's politics.
It's politics, yeah.
You know, I was just going to say, but let me hold my thought. Let's take a very short break, right? When we come back from that break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're discussing Orosanye's report. We're analyzing the report, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. We have with us Judge Ashiru. Now, remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also call our phone line is 07025007749. That's the number to call if you do wish to join this conversation. I said I have a bit of reservations because, hey, the me of 2012, because from what I understand about this report, it was a 2012 man panel that was set up. And what is happening in 2024? My question is, before President Tinubu came out to say that they should just, implement his recommendation, was there a review? Because I don't want to believe that what applied in 2012 with what the amount of changes that we have seen in our economy today, do you understand? I don't think any right-thinking person that wants some level of progress will just pick it and, shove it and say, let's implement. shouldn't there have been like another review to just look at it and say, okay, now bringing in some of these stakeholders that you have mentioned into the picture to say, this is the situation, we want to rejig the economy, we want to grow our economy and all of that. Let's come back and review this report to see if it's still relevant. Was there any of those things that was done? Or it's just carry it and plug it?
President Buhari set up another committee to review that committee's work. And as you know, the number of parastatals and MDs have increased again since that time. But then the government has also decided at that time to digitize government. So you would expect that naturally, some things would die a natural death. You'd expect that when you digitize government, a lot of departments will not be necessary anymore. A lot of units will not be useful. And so it then becomes the report, you know, having a life of its own, you know, through the way that the government iterates itself. I think what I believe is happening is that President Tinubu has been under pressure to make pronouncements and announcements to tackle all of the various things going on in the country, and he's pulled that one out of the shelf. He hasn't considered the fact that some of those things are no longer useful into 2024 as they were in 2012. Some of those names don't exist anymore. Some of these institutions have changed titles. You understand? Like I said, National Sports Commission was in that report. There's nothing like that now. So clearly you can't implement what is not even correct. What should have happened is to say, NESG, look into this report, extract what is implementable, and we'll review the rest. Extract. Just take what you know can work now. Everything else, leave it under review. You know, the government doesn't just come up one day. I'll tell you 3 things that I think the government has done wrong. The president making a pronouncement about forex liberalization and lifting of subsidy on crude before he even saw the first document of government to sign. So, which means that with a limited number of people, he made a conversation and decided what he was going to do without talking to the industry, and therefore having mitigating plans. For when I do this, this will happen. When I do that, that will happen. Now, this is not something you do in business. If you do that in business, that's the end of your business. Yeah. All right? So in government, you take risks because you know that regardless of the risk you take, you're going to earn oil and gas dollars. So I think because the government knows it's not going to make a loss, it can afford to make pronouncements. We can't encourage government to make pronouncements without due diligence.
Let me come to you, Dee.
Okay. I think that's one of the key things wrong with governance in Nigeria is the fact that there is no implementable strategy. It almost feels like, okay, we just have goals. That's it. The how to get there is never there. So it just looks pretty, it looks beautiful, it sounds nice, and then that's it. But to actually sit down and say, okay, and then it's always about putting round pegs in square holes.
And putting the cart before the horse.
Exactly. So
this is a one collect monthly salary. What do you put in place?
So I'm asking myself, is it like you don't have people who have, I don't know what's the word, who have the competence to say,
we do.
Or because
government can't change itself. It's like asking the doctor to perform surgery on himself. So everywhere that you've tried to implement a principle, you always bring in international experts. You bring in professionals. You bring in people. Why do we have auditors coming to a company to audit when you already have certified accountants? It's the same principle. So when you come up with this, you will say, okay, let's get, for example, if it's something to do with the private sector, let's get experts in the private sector, give them the authority to make those changes. But you don't want to do that for political reasons. Again, there's pushback. See, if you cannot reform the civil service, you cannot save Nigeria.
I agree completely.
The civil service, you cannot even steal a dime of government money without the connivance of 2-3 people from the civil service who sign.
I always say that.
It's
the rat. There's a saying that it's the rat at home, inside the house, that tells the ones outside that
this is the pathway.
So how do you then expect that you'll come up with a report that will affect 1,500, really, truly 1,500 agencies of government in whatever names they are called, and you would expect that the same people will implement their death?
It's not possible.
Oh, that's self-crucifixion.
It's not possible. It's just like when they said they wanted to take out, what's it called, and just reduce the number of Senate. I say, how? Is it not the same people that will sign the law?
Yes.
Exactly.
But I was just going to say, because, I mean, hearing this speak, I understand this thing, and this is a problem, right? I feel like our government, right, and this is across board. This is not specific to this dispensation. Across board, government just like to say the nice to know, like it sounds very nice in the ear. You know, you pay monthly rentals, you do this, like literally, right? You're not thinking through that process. It's just like the way the president announced that subsidy removal. If you know the number of people that has been badly impacted, you did not think through. You didn't even say, okay, what are the structural cushions, you understand, that we're going to put? If we're taking this out, what do we do next? Nothing. You just made a loud pronunciation, and now it seems like, because this is what we're hearing, it came out from this mouth that subsidy is gone, it entered through the back door. Because now it is really crazy. In fact, I'm hearing obscene amounts that is being paid that was not even paid before. Of course. For same subsidy. Subsidies. So why is there so much deception when it comes to issues around the government? Why?
Subsidy is connected to foreigners. If we were not importing our own finished crude oil, we would never have a problem with subsidy. So now, as long as we are still importing, and then the cost of getting the dollar has gone high, there will be subsidy again. That's common sense. But again, you fool people simply because people don't have enough knowledge.
Thank you.
But let's come to one very critical thing. It may be difficult for us to understand it. Sometimes it's not the politicians that's the problem. You know, President Tinubu might actually have a passion for wanting to implement this. He will find that the most difficult part of it is that the civil service is not ready to follow through with that implementation. I have served with a minister where the president released a certain amount of money to say, I want you to introduce a system that will produce these results for Nigeria. And he invited me and a couple of other people into that committee. And the people in the civil service told me, one of them told me, he said, you evil presidents, you want to take food from our mouth. So which means every attempt we will make to implement those what was approved by the president of Nigeria. They were telling us that it's your life you're playing with. Your very life.
I was just going to say that, you know, wake up once you drew on top of your chair.
No, but it's true. For those of us who've worked in the civil service, there are actual principalities in these, ministries, departments, and agencies, whether we like it or not, because they feel like they're the barracks. You are the soldier come, the soldier go. They know the ins and outs, and they're the ones who actually corrupt and somewhat bring these politicians into the know of what and how to steal or, destroy whatever it is they do in those
My sister, they will tell you that federal government money is their money.
Their money, yeah.
That we come in as appointees to steal their money.
Yeah.
So when you go in with your ideas, with your thoughts, with your passion, with your foreign knowledge about whatever it is, that is like you're slapping them from one side to the other. They will even tell you, do you know how many degrees that this civil service has paid for me to have? More than yours. So the key thing we have is, again, I've said, transformational leadership is what we're lacking.
Yeah.
Leaders that will be able to carry everybody along and say, look, this is for all of us. We need to achieve this, and this will help us. This report on its own is not a panacea for anything, but it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And if the president is listening to every good-thinking Nigerian, he should not try to push it in 3 months. He should simply extract what is useful and say, I am extracting this and extracting that, and he will use it to give an example of how the others would work. You know, so if I try and say I'm just going to take Ministry of Health, or just take this ministry, or that 5 MDAs, and we'll go and do a pilot project, and the pilot project works, then you go back and say, good. Now let's say, now when people see that it worked well, it didn't impact people negatively. It brought down the cost of governance. It improved efficiency in the way that the government was working, and nobody lost their jobs in court. People got moved around. People will say, okay, it's not so bad. Let's try it here, 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 and change comes over a period of time.
Well, I was going to ask, is it possible
Why
for
not?
people not to lose their jobs? It's not possible.
Now, if you
because we already see that the cost of governance is
civil service
high.
the cost of governance,
yes.
the cost of governance is not the salaries.
So what is the cost of governance?
The cost of governance is the operating expenses for things that are not needed in governance, not the salary.
Yeah.
I'll just give you a quick example. So I'm consulting for an organization, and they're telling me we need to reduce money, we need to reduce costs, we need to reduce this, and we're going to sack people. So they brought 40 people's names, and I did an analysis, and the salary of the 40 people is less than a third of the salary of the CEO. So
Okay, you don't kill me, finish.
So really, you know that this person saying we need to, it's not really dealing with the issue. So if you had taken 40 people out, it would look like you are saving costs. You're not actually saving costs. For the cost of one single trip, that would be the same as the salary of 1,000 civil servants.
Absolutely.
If you take one governor with 5 people at $435 a day, $900 a day, depending on the ESTA code, in today's Forex, you take them out, this is the time for all the governors to say, we're not traveling. Do all your meetings with Zoom. This is the time for the federal government to say, you know what, from now till the end of 2024, we are not going to spend a dime in dollars, you know, in order to go and do whatever. We will do all our
no
meetings
sitting
digitally.
allowances for all those people that are sitting and sleeping inside the Senate now.
Even, see, I will still surprise you that
that is still not the problem.
The actual cost of government, it is in all those things that are not even highlighted in the budget. The so-called miscellaneous things that come up. You know, and if you look truly, because what the budget does is that, I may shock you, and people who are listening, who are in the civil service may feel, I shouldn't have said it. They will simply bring out, you know, the same spreadsheet from year to year, and just say, add 25% to it, add 25% to it, because they're not going to follow it. I've never seen where they went and brought the budget and say, are we going line by line?
What happens to the monies and the things that we didn't do?
Nothing.
They don't carry you over.
It's
brand new every year.
Approval is dependent on the governor or the person. He just approves what he wants. He doesn't disburse what he doesn't want to disburse. Nobody goes back to say, it's my due to have 30 million for my department. It's whatever the governor wants to release to you. So we have the structure that the President Tinubu wants to change at the federal level. I gave a warning before he took over office. I said, Lagos State is not federal government. Federal government is a beast on its own. Lagos State is a beautiful state. Everything runs well. Why? It's learned from the federal government, from the white people. So it's got a structure that's, you know, many decades. So it's working because of that, you know. But the federal government is a creation that has had the impact of both the military and the civilian, the parliamentary system, American system, and every day is always changing like a hydra-headed monster. So when you get in there, the most critical thing you want to do is spend at least 6 months reviewing the system before you come up with your own policies. You must spend a period of time asking questions, bringing professionals, getting audit reports, getting personnel reports, doing security studies about the people that surround you, so that you can then begin to say, you know what, I've realized that you don't fit well here. I'm going to move you here. You move here, you move here, you move here. Then, this is my vision. I believe now that I've got the right team. Because it's like the army. If you've got the wrong person in the Air Force, you're going to lose your war. So you can't afford to have a great soldier who is the head of the Air Force, and then a very good airman, you put him in charge of the Navy.
Let's take a WhatsApp message, I believe. We have a WhatsApp message.
You can't exhaust this
As in
conversation.
a week.
It has to be an ongoing conversation.
I think this from, how do I pronounce this name? Wow! From her radio days. Nice seeing you, Marianne.
Okay,
That's a two-star, right?
I know, right? Okay.
It is well.
It's incredible that we're having this conversation, and I'm almost certain that 5 years down the line we're going to have this conversation again. Unfortunately, this is our situation in this country. Just as he said, due diligence is not necessarily done on things, and my position on this administration and even the Buhari administration is all the plan, all the power, and the ideas went into taking power. And once power was gotten, everyone went to sleep. So in fact, some people became confused, as opposed to preparing for when you take over power and what you would do right after you take that oath of office. So what the president is doing now is just anything we can just hold on to make it look like we're doing something, and that's why we're where we are today. If there was a clear-cut plan and strategy, which we really hoped for Tinubu, a lot of people said, oh, he built Lagos, he did this, and so we expected a lot. But City Boy is not performing.
No, the president didn't build Lagos. The president is... Yeah, I'll just give that as an example. Some of us went to school in Lagos, have had Lagos scholarships long before we knew who Tinubu was. So we knew those who built Lagos. But the key thing for all of us is that most of the people running government have absolutely no experience running anything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're great politicians. They know how to win elections. So they don't have templates they've used in the past to do something somewhere.
Administratively.
Administratively, that you could see them bring it into governance. And that's why you will never find the Elumelus ever trying to go into government. You know, and look at the classic example.
But therein lies the problem, right? Therein lies the problem, because I would rather have, you know, an Elumelu. I'd rather have a Dangote. I'd rather have even, God rest his soul, the late Herbert, because you would see that he was a visionary leader. Right? I'd rather have those people start thinking about going into government than this crop of politicians. Because some of these people are just interested in holding a title of governor, president, and, you know, senator. They don't have any more aspirations or what's it called? Nothing else. That's just their dreams and their aspiration. Just let me have that title, Your Excellency, and they call me Your Excellency, and that's it. Because clearly, you would think that for somebody like Tinubu, where everybody felt, oh, this guy is the most prepared, is the most qualified, is the most, I mean, that was a lot of things that was going around. And I say somebody said, no, me talk now. You know, so they said it, right? But you would think that with all of those, you know, what's the word, accolades that were attached to his person, he will not be the same person doing some of these things. Like literally, right? Look at the example you just gave. Look at COP28. The amount of entourage that followed them. You would think that for a government that understands that we are in pain, look at the amount of looting that's been happening. People are going hungry on the street. Now they went to Qatar. Same thing. Why is your son following you, for goodness sake? Is your son part of the government? Was he elected as well? Now, if you check the entourage, right, the government, you would think that this same person that came under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of distrust from the people, you would think that he would try to say, you know what, let me be that different leader. He came to Lagos the other day. I was counting the number of cars. I lost count of the number of cars that just come and commission, you know, a rail line. Come on. Like, when do we, where do we draw the line, and when do we start to see something different?
You know, I used the word before, unless a leader is transformational, he will revert to instinct. So if your instinct is dictatorial, you will carry it everywhere you go. If your instinct is transformational, you carry everybody along. There's something I said, you know, when last time you interviewed me, I said, if we're going to suffer, let it be for a just cause. We will all agree if somebody comes to us to say, look, I'm forced to make these decisions. Okonjo-Iweala was a very great transformational economic planner. The difference she made to the economy in that Obasanjo's term was such that he exited government with a surplus in reserves and no debt. That is what leadership is all about. You don't have to like the person. But what Obasanjo did better than most presidents is that he was able to surround himself with people that he didn't necessarily like, but they were good at their jobs.
Yes.
Thank you.
And who could stand up to him.
They were not people from his party.
Yeah.
You know, my uncle served in the Ministry of, under Goodluck Jonathan as a Foreign Affairs Minister, Ashiru. He was not a member of PDP. He was simply recommended because of his service. So that's an example of just picking somebody who knew the job and said, you're a former ambassador, you should be able to do foreign affairs. So go and do foreign affairs. Okonjo-Iweala, you're in World Bank. So clearly, you'll be very good to manage the economy. Okay, the gentleman who was Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Okonjo-Iweala and the Minister of Foreign Affairs were paid in dollars because they were expatriate Nigerians. So Obasanjo basically said, look, I don't care. I'm going to bring experts from everywhere, and we're going to turn this country around. That's what would happen if Elumelu was in power. He would want to bring in experts. The people in the civil service will say no.
No.
I'm director in charge. If you were to bring Dangote, he would say, look, I know the team that can make it happen. And then that is what then creates that dichotomy in governance, where politicians bring in special advisors, hoping that, look, I can surround myself with people that will help me succeed. That's why I'm sharing the blame equally. Because sometimes politicians do come in with ideas. Yeah. And then they meet a dogmatic system, a structure that says,
let us kill the dogma inside there. Let us remove that.
That is what this Orosanye report
is
supposed to achieve. So that is why I said there's a political reason for bringing that report out, not an economic reason.
Let's take a comment.
Okay. So this is good evening, my dear beautiful sisters, or what are you saying? Hashtag ways. Trust you all are doing well and had a wonderful night, rest and weekend. Nice hearing from you, beautiful ladies, again. Honestly speaking, I have really missed the show and cannot wait to watch it live today. I'm tired of watching a repeat for the past 2 months.
It's okay.
Just
no
cannot
verse.
wait to watch tonight's show. God bless you, beautiful ladies. Remain blessed and enjoy the rest of the day.
Amen. Thank you so
Your
much.
regular fan, Daniel
watching
Ilo.
pageants.
Yes. But thank you so much, Judge Ashiru. I think we need to bring you back. Because I really
enjoyed your
Perspective. Interesting analyst anytime, any day. I love him.
I want to know that politicalism behind it. Let us not put you on the line. You know, I didn't say on the line. On the line. Abi, we have to.
So shall it be?
Well, thank you. I think we had a fantastic conversation.
Thank
you,
you.
Marianne. Thank you, Dee. Now, before we go, remember, if you missed the quote, here it is again. President Goodluck Jonathan set up the 7-man panel in 2012 to restructure and rationalize governmental bodies, ordered the implementation of Orosanye's recommendation in 2014. President Muhammadu Buhari also ordered the implementation in 2020. Let us now hope or pray that this will be the final order. This was from Simon Kolawale. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Ciao.